Bear with me.
Sure, take your time.
You know how everything takes longer than you ever expect.
Everything everywhere all at once.
You're good. Okay, so all right. Let me take a little bit. All right. So I think we're ready. So our goal.
Do you want to run the slides from your end?
I can.
I mean,
yeah, I can run.
Because
It doesn't matter.
That's how we'll be doing it.
Well, they'll be running.
Well, I mean, oh, that's true. That's true.
I won't be running. That's the whole idea. We'll talk to them about what is our cue for the next slide. You know.
Gotcha.
We'll play by, hopefully they'll, let me see if I have it. I can do it too, but I don't know why. Is this it? Let me just check. Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah. Hold on, slideshow from beginning. Okay. Okay, so you ready to go, Mark?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm recording the session too, so I can send you the recording, Mark, as well.
You want to share the slide? You want to share your
screen? And I'm going to
so
share the slide, yes. Oh, I got to share
okay.
my screen too.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Make
saying.
me
so
share everything, Mark. Right.
It'll become part of the recording.
Okay, so I have my PowerPoint here. Let me go to my slideshow from beginning. And why is it not working? Of course. Let me just put it all the way up, full screen. Slideshow from beginning. Okay. Wow, welcome. I'm Dr. Sarah Rushnick, and we're going to be doing a case study. The title is The Effective Smart City Design, Harnessing AI as a Driver for the Metaverse Product Delivery. And I'm Sarah Rushnick. I'm a professor at the University of Miami. I wear a few different hats. I'm a professor in the business school. And also I work with the medical school for translational research. And I work with physicians bringing their research to product. And I also reach out and help the community. One of the communities I help is the city of Coral Gables. I am the tech advisor for the city of Coral Gables, their smart initiatives and smart city innovations. And one of the things that I do is I help them look at different vendors, what tasks we should do. And in this case, we're going to be helping them with the metaverse and using AI to improve their effectiveness as well. And I have with me, I am just so honored that I have with me Mark Abert, who is the GIS manager, and he is my partner in crime, huh, Mark? You're my partner in crime in this endeavor. So we're going to share in these few minutes with you an idea of what we have to do. So Mark, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Mark Abert. I'm the GIS manager, as Dr. Rushnick said, with the City of Coral Gables Innovation and Technology Department. We have only been in a department a few 20 years. So in terms of IT and our presence in the city, relatively young, but we're very forward moving. And as the name implies, we originally were information technology. We are now innovation and technology, because the focus is on moving forward with tech and with communications and with business processes that help support citizens. One of the things that we've worked on in recent years to help elaborate a digital twin in a smart city is to incorporate a virtual 3D representation of the city. So we have here a look at that virtual representation, and you can see there are colored lines and colored points. Those represent IoT and infrastructure here in the city that is available as open data, which is its primary purpose, to make information available to citizens for their use, and for other purposes in building out a metaverse. This is one representation, a metaverse of AI instigated and supported business processes.
And Mark, let me just ask you, when did you start this project? How long ago? And what was the impetus to start this?
Right. So we started the horizontal data integration about 3 years ago. We built out this particular platform in the last 18 months. So it took some time to get the things to come together. We had to identify the data that could be utilized, the platforms that could be used and represented. And then, as you can imagine, and maybe even perceive in this image, those aren't actual buildings. Those are representations of extruded polygons using GIS technology to build out a space and fabricate what the space actually looks like. But this is not actual reality. This is animated representation.
So you've done that. So what are your barriers in this project? What are you having as problems here?
Well, the barriers essentially are, excuse me, time to delivery, that it takes a while to build out these sorts of platforms. Even though there are tools available, you need to, one, identify data. The data has to be useful. The data has to have the right attributes aligned to it. And then when, in the case where the data may be missing, you have to go out and you have to build it. And then you have to build it intelligently. It has to be, data that comes from a useful and knowledgeable source, and that when it gets represented, it has the information behind it that is purposeful to the business process. So in the case of IoT sensors, for instance, if you want to know about accidents that may have occurred on a street, that sensor needs to be able to record that information and send it back to the home office, as it were.
And of course, there's problems with even deciphering that data to make it meaningful. And that's where
product experts need to be available to take those
and that's where
from the sensors.
Your director, Raimundo Rodolfo, reached out to the university and reached out to me to help them in terms of new technology, basically figuring out also how to use the data with our students doing data analytics and bringing that to market.
Correct.
But you know what, Mark, life happens. And I always say that sometimes these tragedies occur. And in 2021, I don't know if everyone is familiar with this, but you can see here via Wikipedia on June 24th, the Chaplin Tower South, which is a 12-story building in Miami suburb of Surfside, basically Miami Beach, it collapsed at 1:22 a.m. Can you imagine being, Mark, in those buildings sleeping, and it caused the death of 98 people?
It's tragic. It is.
It was a tragedy. It really had global press to it, and everyone was basically in shock. And then they said, could it be my condo? Could it be me? And did they actually do any, were they warned, really, Mark? That's what my idea here. Were they warned at all that this happened? And it turned out that they were warned. It wasn't a warning that it will completely collapse on June 24th, but there were many violations, and over, guess what? The residents said, I'm going to have to pay those assessments. Let's keep on delaying it and delaying it. So afterwards, it was the whole city and really the whole world said, listen, how are we going to prevent this to occur in the future? And that's why we thought about the metaverse here and identifying some of the risks. We can also basically simulate what it would be in terms of inspections. And our idea was to inform the public basically have transparency, basically make it known to the folks what's happening here. So these were the events that all of a sudden there's a lot of pressure in your city of Coral Gables, which I'm also, not only my university is located there, but I'm a resident there, that says, how are you going to help? What happened with the permits? Weren't you
Sure.
in the government supposed to be doing something?
Sure. Yeah, and we were just in the process prior to that event in Surfside. We were in the process of assessing and assaying the buildings that were now coming into what is called the recertification process. Every 40 years, buildings have to be recertified, which means inspections, calculations, engineering reviews. And so we were in that process of compiling what buildings did we, the city of Coral Gables, need to go out and inspect to make sure that they were able to be recertified and that residents could continue to inhabit and live there. Then the Surfside situation happened, and it laser focused everyone's attention on this recertification process, but it didn't speed up the process. It didn't make the process easier to conduct. It didn't make the process easier to reflect on once the assessments had been done, because then there was a lot of contention, as you stated, with residents concerned for the cost of any remediation or improvements necessary to bring the building into compliance with the recertification.
Yeah. And what ended up happening, what we found out, is even we had inspectors going out in the beginning, we had basically experts around the world coming into Miami trying to help. But after a while, you can come in a disaster area. They even brought in the Israeli dogs. You remember that, where they were inspecting, trying to find people. But after a while, everybody had to leave. So the question we became interested in and trying to find a solution is, when you have limited resources, how can you ameliorate this process? And what we are looking at is some type of remote video inspection where you can see someone, for instance, doing the inspection. They may be a novice or they may not know enough. They can do the inspections, and you can see right here, even in the graph that we're showing, that you basically can have then a computer wearing on your head, hands-free, voice activated. And if you can see in front of that viewer is a monitor, and remotely anyone through a browser, through the phone, can see exactly what that inspector has to do. So this is going to be wireless, it's going to be mobile, and these are a way in which you can do it. We're thinking about via the metaverse. You can basically view and someone else can comment on it. It can be using then the metaverse, we can think about it, is that you can use it for data visualization, the digital world, a way in which you can get documents. And what we envision is that we can use artificial intelligence, chat GPT, into the document navigator. So basically our documents, everyone can get a document that they can understand. So is it for the engineer? It can be in their language. Is it for the residents? It can be in a way in which they can understand the severity of the problems, government, and also even tasks that can be done. And it can be basically viewed remotely. So what are your thoughts on that, Mark?
So that kind of a business process is the kinds of thing that lends transparency to governance and allows the residents of a condominium, as a good example, since that's what we're talking about, to understand, not just be told, but to understand the need for increased fees, let's say, or the need to remain safe and secure in their person and in their residence. The kinds of things that we hear a lot, in the mainstream press or in government meetings, but that isn't always translated in a way or in a fashion that people feel like they're participants, that their opinions and their input is being valued. So this enables agency on the part of the people most affected by these things.
So these are one of the we've created a demo lab, and these devices we're testing out. So we're going out into the field. We're even having our students go out wearing some of these devices, and even engineers then remotely through their browser can view what novices are doing. So it's an interesting object there. So we wanted to incorporate then AI and basically a view of a 360 view via cameras in the metaverse. And what's the problem in creating the metaverse is that the process takes so long. And what we want to explore is taking live video, and then live video could be through these head mounts, or it could be even through cell phones, other devices, and automate a full conversion of the video to animated video. So in this way, we basically can facilitate that metaverse integration. We can speed up the production, and basically, as we say, to everywhere, to everything, all at the same time, where you can then cast those avatars really near real time. And what are your thoughts on that, Mark?
So the speed to market is the key here, because sometimes you go out and you do an inspection and the results of the inspection aren't even properly compiled because it might sit on your desk a few days, or there may be interruptions and that sort of thing. This is then you're using AI and other facilities like that to already have taken the video feed, processed it, staged it, gone out and done assessments in other domains to bring in more information, to elaborate the original inspection, to compare it to prior inspections, to compare it to other agencies' inspections that may be available through simple text searches with ChatGPT, for instance, so that you compile a data set that is enhanced and embellished by more and more information. And then that in turn can be condensed, resized, if you will, reconfigured to make it available to various audiences, but also to present it as a fait accompli, as an animation of the inspection. So that somebody needs to go back afterwards and say, hey, you know what? I don't see any reference to this particular area. So why don't we go back into the 360 view and look at that again and check it after the fact?
Yeah, that's a great idea, that you can basically repeat and see again. Plus, you can see it real time, and when the inspection is at the time of its procedures. So, Mark, I can't believe it's near the end of the time. Do you have any
Indeed.
other thoughts that we need to let the audience know?
Yes, that this needs further investigation. That's my thought, that we need to pursue this as something immediate and through what's available. So we already have micro models of these sorts of things. What we need to do is string these micro models together into one larger model for taking video, processing it, and making it available through some analysis, through some AI analysis, to take the reports that are then output and go out and do a semantic search on other available information to bring it back into that, and then to spin that and turn it around and make that information based on an inspection or based on other government actions available to the public, to the experts, to the administrators, and to the agencies that are invested in finding out what's going on in the world around us.
Yeah, what I think it also is this world changes so quickly. Think about the idea of COVID. What happened during COVID? It really disrupted us that we never could even imagine. So I think we need to get to a shorter period of time to reduce that time factor to get something even out.
Agreed.
Okay. Am I right on terms of timing?
We're overtime. I don't know by
How much
what,
overtime?
At least a minute and a half.
Wow. We should have asked for 20 minutes. Should have demanded, but then now it's too late. So
I'm sure we can push it by a minute or so, but I mean, right now we're on the outslide
I
It's just a
don't even
matter.
think we can, because I think somebody's coming in right at 3.
Well, remember, we have 45 minutes to conduct it.
Yeah, we have
So,
45 minutes
but
to do
in-
it. So
but
where do you
on-
think, but I thought we did, so where do you think we can improve?
At the front, just a quicker
Yeah,
introduction,
Yeah.
more to the point. And,
Yes. Right.
get me on, I
Right,
get out
get you
as soon
on
as
quickly,
possible.
get you on quickly. And this, I don't know. This is, we need a little bit of intro on this. So when I go from this slide, right, I have to cut it short. My
Well, you're
intro
going to my
and
introduction. Maybe just need to edit the slide to include Coral Gables 3D horizontal open integration. That's all. It's just context. But it says it
Yeah.
at the bottom, a visual representation of an area of Coral Gables.
but nobody reads that. So we have to put it up
Well,
front.
All right, we'll put it up front.
Yeah, just do that. I think that visual represented Coral Game. You
Because
want
this
that
is
up
just
front?
me answering your question and talking
Right.
about why it took
You know
so
what I'm
long.
not clear about is almost as soon as I introduce you, maybe I should say, what projects have you been working on, Mark? Mark, can you introduce yourself and just talk about one of your major projects?
That's a smart entry. That's a smart entry. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, let me write that down. And you write it down too to remind me that, Mark, what was it? That basically, can you introduce yourself? And tell us about
Current projects.
one of your projects. And I think maybe in that case, then when we go Coral Gables, this is it, and then maybe cut it shorter.
Yeah, this is just like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah. Right. We don't have to even go into. And how should I kept on saying, Mark, what is your thoughts? I think there has to be a better way for me to, is that good? Or what should I?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So when you say, what are your thoughts? The expectation is that I'm staged already. So better that you just maybe find a way of coming to a close with a pronouncement of some sort, some statement of finality in your thoughts. I don't know what other way to put it at the moment, but you know what I'm saying? So that way it's not so much a prompt to me, but it can be like a handoff.
So
maybe you end a statement with, it sounds stupid, but you have your own words, but yeah, you can end it with, do you know what I mean? Or is that understandable? Or, you know what I'm saying? Something that,
is that understandable? Or how is it in the real, what are your experiences?
That's another way to say it. Yeah. What are
your experiences? Rather than your thoughts. I kept on using that. Give me what are your experience? What else can I do?
Or yeah, you can say that. What can you add? Can you add anything to that, Mark?
Yeah. Can you add?
Because I can.
I know, but I kept on using your thoughts, Can you add anything?
I know. And then I felt like Ronald Reagan. Well, I'm glad you asked.
And yeah, so it's basically, I like this was that life, when we go with the punches, right? And this can be our worst nightmares, right? Occur, and then all of a sudden we need to respond. And we see that in the past we didn't respond in fashion. Do you think we spent too much time on this one?
Maybe a little bit, but not really. So here's the thing. So it wasn't that we spent too much time on it, but we didn't, I don't think we got to the crux of where we're going to be in the following slides soon enough.
Right.
So this was good to spend the time on, but because we're like saying, this is the reason why everything else follows, we needed to stage
This was
that
the
what follows
impetus.
better. Yeah, stage what follows better by talking about this. You know, why didn't people know? Why were they surprised?
Yeah,
Well,
what
they
were
weren't.
what can we learn from our failures almost, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, this was not a failure of knowledge. This was a failure of concerted activity because people knew they didn't understand, they
Yes,
didn't
yes,
agree,
yes, yes, yes.
it wasn't, you know,
Where was our failure when what are the terms when they do, you know, even when the army goes back in
after action,
after action, but there's another term for it where
debrief.
it's basically looking at basically almost evaluating the situation, trying to find
I sort of know what you mean. I'm thinking of a debriefing and after action. I think,
yeah, a debriefing maybe.
um,
That there's a way that they basically reassess the situation, see how could we, you know, learn from our mistakes, you know, or even they do that in the army all the time. It's a term for that. Okay. Okay, so that was one. I don't know if this became so busy. I don't know if would it help, Mark? Is this, do you think this one is does this repeat this slide? Can we get everything out from this slide as we can from this slide? I like that guy's face.
No, because it gives you the stage to talk specifically about what the next slide really kind of fleshes out. So it's like the second one's an
the beginning
elaboration.
one.
This one is remote video inspection. This is what we needed before Surfside, because before Surfside, if we had done a remote video inspection, we would have had a good and better widespread understanding of the potential risks. Because as it was, an engineer going out there and filing a report about spalling didn't get the job done because there wasn't anybody
this was what was missing.
Right, there was nobody looking over his shoulder. There was nobody in the position at the time of the inspection with wireless or mobile interface capability to do comparatives and to take pictures. You know, everything had to be brought back to the office and reevaluated by another partner. Right. This gives you real world entrance to what we're talking about, which is people doing a job in a substantive way. I mean, we're used to the notion of an engineer going into the field and doing that sort of work, and we think that's the creme de la creme. When, well, we know it's not. So how do you advance that process?
Basically, what were the failures that this took place? Basically,
the failures is doing the same old thing over and over, expecting different results. That was the failure. We needed to.
It wasn't like we didn't know about this after the fact, right? Hindsight.
No,
right. Okay.
Right. They had the reports. They knew there was spalling. They knew that it jeopardized the pool deck. You know, there were evidentiary pictures of the pool deck slanted and starting to collapse.
Right.
That was not a secret to anybody. How that impacted the rest of the building was well understood, that if the pool deck fails, it's liable to undermine, you know, the foundational elements of the building on that side. That was well elaborated.
What can we do different in the future to avoid some catastrophe happening again? And we're looking for technology to help us in real time.
Yes, we want it to bring the results.
Right. And also reports that
ASAP.
people can understand, not only the results in real time, but the problem is folks didn't understand the severity of it.
Right. You want the results contextualized and elaborated for anybody and everybody that wants to, you know, peer into it.
Yes.
I mean, And you also want to be able to push it in the sense that it's not enough to just make it available. It has to come up and tap them on the shoulder and say, this may be something you're interested in. You live in a condominium that's nearby that was built by the same contractor that is due for inspection, and this is what they found next door. You may want to know about this.
Yeah.
So it's not enough to just say, here you go. You need, it's like when you get a notification that a friend of yours did something on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, you want a notification. Hey, a building is being inspected nearby you that, is part of a recertification process. Do you know what a recertification process is? Might you want to find out before your building falls down? I mean, you don't need to be alarmist, but it needs to be
we're using this
clear
as a
why
case
you're
study.
doing it.
I'm using this as a case study because this is really the worst case scenario, one of the worst case scenarios that we can think about. Right. So that's why we're bringing it to, this doesn't happen every day, but the idea that this could happen on Miami Beach in a condominium that when was it? In 1998?
2021, just 2 years ago.
Right. No, but I mean,
when it was built in the 80s. In the 80s. Yeah, it's 40 year certification was coming up, 81.
Yeah, they were getting ready for their 40th certification.
And they had already previous to that found these problems. So independent
that's the thing. It wasn't like it was no one knew. Yeah. But it wasn't.
But if only we'd done the inspection sooner. No, you did do the inspection sooner. It wasn't the certification.
So basically, this is one solution that we have is getting basically it solves two solutions. Is we need to get now more and more buildings and condominiums inspected. We don't have the resources, and we need to shorten the time for that inspection, and also everyone that's involved in either being the engineer or the government or the residents to understand the severity of the problems.
We need their input.
Okay.
So by the way,
is there a way, Mark, that you can kind of step in if I just like pause and you step in rather than me saying,
oh, sure.
But I think that's better by me making it a conversation rather than, what do you think, Mark? What are your thoughts, Mark?
No, that's fine.
What do you think about that?
I'm sensitive to that, and I almost did it in this practice, but I wasn't sure if you had another thought to follow. So just give me a sincere pause.
I'll just stop talking.
Right.
And then you just jump in. I think that's even making it a conversation. Make that better than every time me kind of saying, now jump, Mark,
Well, my point exactly. So find your pause, act on it, and I'll step in.
Right.
So by the way, Bard says that the military uses a process called an after action review to assess events and identify areas for improvement. They call it an after action review, an after action report, a lessons learned, an after action analysis, a debriefing.
And I was looking for lessons learned.
Lessons learned. Okay, there you go. Lessons learned.
Isn't that it? Now look at Mark, how you turn to that.
Yeah.
It's fabulous, isn't it?
It is. I love it. No,
but really,
I'm serious. I got 2 webinars that I'm following up on regarding the use of ChatGPT, one in AutoCAD and the other in other large language model knowledge base assessments.
Yes.
So I'm going to use this stuff.
But Mark, you know what? Something like this you can shine in. It is really in your sphere.
It is. I see that.
I know you really can contribute to it.
I never really bothered to investigate it because it was just like one more pain in the ass thing to learn.
No, but it's not a pain in the ass. It really, and it stimulates you.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing. What I'm saying is that initially that was where I was at.
It stimulates your thinking.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what it's done. And I know that, but I'm saying the experience is different from the anticipation of having to go find what to
I
do.
know.
It works well for me to have somebody show me something, because if
Yes.
somebody shows me something, oh my God. I
No,
mean,
you jump on it right away. And when you were there, when we just started this,
right.
it was such a pleasure. Not even that, our production is so much richer
It is. It is.
than just throwing up a couple of slides.
Yes,
No,
indeed.
of
So
getting in
that's the
depth of
next thing to
understanding.
do is that's the next thing I want to do. So I want to take your notion of video to AI. How, who's doing that? How is that done? What tool
Yes.
is that does that? I want to learn that.
Yes, and that's what it's just starting to do in the animation. That's why I'm bringing this to you too, Mark. It's not for another another conference that we're doing. I'm
Understood.
really bringing it to you to basically put fire into you to see that I'm being serious, that
I hear you.
that you're like stuck. You know what I mean? Because it really is, there's going the traditional way that you were going to go to, you'd never accomplish it. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be an end.
It would take forever. Yes.
It would have taken forever. And not even that, by the time you said it, who cares? Life has changed already. Life is changing so quickly that here, my point here is that, just like we said before, is you can take it as a completion, as even a prototype, give it to end users, and you say, you know what, I don't even know what I didn't want, but this is where we want to go. This is not exactly my bottleneck. And then you can switch easily. You can, what we saw before is the agility. Okay, I think what we learned, Mark, it has to be more of a conversation. I just need to, just like we're speaking now, I need to stop talking and you just interject. And it's more of a conversation rather than, what do you think, Mark? What do you think, Mark? Your thoughts.
Right.
But we just,
and I laugh oftentimes simply because what I hear from someone, in this case, it's you speaking, what I hear from you reflecting on our experience in this thing and my approach, what had been my approach and what became my approach, is I recognize the irony of life. So that I find humorous. So I often laugh when at remarks like, because that I was stuck. A person in trouble oftentimes doesn't even know they're in trouble until after the fact.
But I'm not saying
stuck, like but I'm
saying I knew that this would never go. You know what I mean? By the time it would finish, you know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
You would be finished. We would be finished. You know what I mean?
It'd be finished.
but it's a shame. You know what I mean? Then you could say, hey, you know what? This isn't going. Let's pick up another application for it or go another way, that I think quick to market. That's the beauty here.
Yes. And that's the point of my interns this summer. They're going to, grind on AI and ChatGPT.
I'm just,
for these
if I've given you anything, I'm glad I gave you that impetus.
Yes, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that we had our conversation so many years ago at eMerge, because I don't know where things are going to go, but I'm glad that we're doing this.
Right, but you know what I mean? But I have the liberty, like I say, as being in academics, I have the liberty of, testing a lot of this out where I don't need to have an end product. Sometimes Avi and I were under the table with all these, trying out these new tech gadgets, and then we would look at each other and I said, can you imagine somebody that has to work for a living and have to run a business?
No,
they don't have that liberty to test this out.
So you bring up something good. So a point to make on the slide that's currently up, make note that somehow, excuse me, you represent that the device, maybe not this one literally, though I know that in fact it is, this device enables someone to look over this person's shoulder. So I don't think we fairly represented the remote video inspection aspect as being, so this person in the field is essentially holding the camera for somebody in the office to see what's going on.
Right, and their hands free.
Well, your hands free, but in the next slide, you're also being guided, right? So we see that represented in the upper right-hand corner, but in the next slide, it's explicit.
Should I, when we're talking about this slide, because there's so many different pictures here, if somebody looked at it, they would have
You
no
want,
idea what was going on. So should I
well, that's
go
what I'm
in the
saying.
lower left-hand corner? Should we state that?
No, use the
Dan-
words that are there, remote video inspection. And what it means is the gentleman with the headset can have someone looking over his shoulder, and that the woman in the upper right can have someone guiding her in terms of how to insert or apply or turn something. And that the wireless and mobile interfaces are represented in the image in the bottom right. I mean, you don't have to elaborate like I'm doing now, but I'm saying you can
No, but I think that's good. You could even
make the observer understand what's there. So this person has somebody looking over the shoulder. That person has somebody guiding them in how to use their hands. The interface is hands-free and accessible through wireless and mobile interfaces.
Yeah, right. That you can basically see then that this person can see the files. Okay.
You can simply say, give me more options, and the screen will change. You can say, make the exposure level 2 or exposure,
Zoom level.
It's just it's happy talk, right? It's take a photo and but people understand
or basically see my files, right? And then we can see here.
Correct. People understand those things once they've had it given to them in words. Like, it's like you don't have to tell them you're changing a slide. You change the slide, they're used to that. They understand it. So
how are we gonna let those guys take us to the next slide?
So this is setting the stage. This is remote video inspection. This is what it's meant to be. It's meant to be somebody.
No, but I'm saying when we're tomorrow, how do you want to?
So I would simply complete the slide. So contextualize the slide in 20 seconds. This guy's got somebody looking over his shoulder. This woman's got somebody helping her how to use her hands. The visual viewscape that they have in their heads up displays. Each of them are different. One's an eyepiece, the other is a headset. It represents a wireless and mobile voice command interface, And then the next slide, you don't even have to explain it. You just like leave this slide and go to the next one. And these are all the things that kind of activity.
And that's how you'll say it. And the next slide explains.
Well, you don't have to do that. You just go to it. You can say in here.
No, but we're not going to have control of this.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Oh, so I think we are. Aren't we?
Yeah, we got the clicker. We got the clicker.
Oh, we got the clicker. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you be in charge of the clicker?
Yeah, I'll take care of the clicker.
Okay. I think they give us, when we get there, I think there was they're going to give us a code.
Yeah, they're going to give us a code and I'll get to it. But what I'm saying is, so when we leave that slide, we come here, and these are all the ways that remote video inspection can improve process. It can handle documents. It can handle IoT data. It can handle digital workflows. Remote mentor, which was essentially discussed on the previous slide. But the purpose is the bullet points and the text on the page, and to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
I need a drink of water.
Yeah. That's our last one. Okay. And given this has existed, but people haven't, this technology here has existed. And what we envision now with the advent of AI is not only to help us with what I consider assisted reality, because this is really what it is.
This is assisted reality.
Assisted reality is getting into the metaverse. The problem with getting into the metaverse and having a complete project is a long process. It's a long process, and it requires technical skill.
Yeah, so go back a slide a second. So this slide, in fact, is representing hands-on work in the field, but this is meant for our purposes to represent inspection type processes where remediation or next actions need to occur. So it's one thing to fill out a form and say, yeah, I checked the valve and it's fine. It's now what do you do when it's not fine or when it's nearing end of life? And that's the next slide. The next slide then illustrates a seamless process. That's the previous. Yeah, the next slide represents a seamless process where what those four guys were doing in the field, now becomes part of a larger metaverse, as we have been saying, of information, interactions, exposures, and applications by way of next actions. So that's why I like this slide on the picture on the left, is because it seems to show an interface similar to what we saw on the previous slide, right? So it's bringing one's attention to that. So there's a bit of a continuation of the metaverse now, is helping you understand what you're seeing in the visual field by way of these little templates or interaction panels, you know, with different things. So you know that one thing is a police car, and the other metrics that may show up about it are that, you know, it's police car 405 driven by officer so-and-so, whose body camera battery is running low and needs to be recharged. All that kind of happy tech horse shit that now somebody else can make use of and produce better results.
Mhm.
So that goes back to the everything everywhere all at once. You know, it's like this
Right.
needs to be consumed. This needs
But
to
I
be
think we should-
consumed now. You know, we need to
Right.
have it now
Right. Rather than waiting, that
rather than
it's
waiting.
too late. And having it now and being aware that we're going to get the reports.
So
And
one of the
that
things
they're understandable.
yeah, so one of the things that you bring up by way of referencing the military's after action lessons learned process is the notion of fog of war. So that when you are in an environment where you're trying to cope with hard choices, you are in a fog of war. It's hard to ascertain. The nice thing is that in the real government space, unless there is an emergency like seen on the left side here, unless there is an emergency, what you're really dealing with is a relatively easy turnaround time. So if you go out and do an inspection, like if you go to, if you're doing the electrical inspection on a new building going up, you go out and you do it, you check it off as passed, and it goes back to the office electronically nowadays. And then the people whose building was being inspected know that, okay, we passed electrical, we can go on to the next thing with the contractors. So that's kind of good. We got an easy time going. But if there's not, they need to be able to provide the information from the inspectors in a way that now their contractors can use that. So it's the same principle that we're talking about with building inspections for certification, but just in a different, slightly different
Yes.
domain.
Yeah.
Those
And what are
guys
the
need to go
tasks that need to be done?
What
And
needs to be done?
succinctly.
Yeah, and you don't need to wait another day or two to put that list together. You know, it's pretty straightforward. But who's producing that report? Who's producing those outputs so that people know what to do next?
Yeah.
Shorten those lead times, shorten all that time up.
And basically eliminate those types of tasks that are tedious.
Yeah, take
for
it off the
people.
people. Right, exactly. Take it off the people. Give it to the machine.
Give it to the machine.
I'm afraid AI is going to replace me. Please replace me. Take my job.
Right. No, but then
I
really
got better
you
things
can
to do.
right. And you can really think about what's the future of future project. If you're just taking these little with the sprinkler and trying to, or with the watering can, to set off these little fires,
So it's not productive because
right. It's really not. And basically use the machine for what it can do. Well,
exactly.
And of course, that's another conversation, of who, which jobs are going to be eliminated and so forth. That's a complete, I don't want to even get into
not even jobs, just tasks. Well, I'm multitasking.
But that's what I'm saying. Off list of tasks. Do you think the engineer wants to write a report? Do you think the policeman wants to write a report?
That's my point. Yeah, because while I'm multitasking 7 things, 6 things are not getting done.
Or not getting done well.
Or at all, because while I can only do one thing at a time. So I got 7 things to do, 6 aren't going to get done. And so you're right, handing it off to the machine. The machine sees what I'm doing. It's watching me work. It's capturing my actions. It's capturing my decisions. So it can make decisions based on decisions I've made in the past. And if it doesn't know, it can put a pin in it and, tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, here's something you need to address.
Right. And that's why I think the metaverse, besides, and some of the things is not being as compelling as it can be, that amount of time that it takes to produce something, it's just too long of a time frame for me.
It is.
And if we can shorten that time frame, and you're already doing that, you're already taking those live videos where it can make that automated conversion into video animation
Yes.
is tremendous. And many times you don't need to see my face,
No.
right? We can be in another world. Let it be an avatar, right? But I was there. I would basically in building or in training, right? Training situations is immense that you could basically do it. And then you can cast those in because I've tried out those things in the metaverse. I went to a conference on the metaverse, that I was the conference. They made me an avatar, and it was done so kludgingly that I hated it. I said, where am I in this? Where am I going? And you had
right.
It's so kludgy. It wasn't natural at all. And that's the thing that it was almost a turnoff, where it was, and then it gets a bad rap, and there maybe it deserved to have a bad rap on that, of the expense of what it is. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think this was invaluable for us. Why does it not go to the next slide?
Something's caught, something's stuck, it looks like.
Okay. So
I
I think that the ending here is, Mark, we could have gone for hours on this, days on this, but this is like and I just want to ask you too, Mark, I want to thank the economists for giving us this opportunity.
That's a good point. Yes.
And maybe I should thank them in the beginning and the end.
Yeah. That's
I think
smart to do.
that I really all their support, and we look for possibilities in participating in their future events.
Yes. So I needed to add something at a slide. I forgot what it was. What was I going to add? Oh, I know, Coral Gables. Never mind, I got it.
Coral Gables. Do we want to add also the logo? Another thing I thought is adding the logo of that economist impact, or no?
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. That's a good idea.
What do you think?
Yes. I think yes.
I think yes. I'd put it in definitely in the beginning, and maybe in the end. Since we're copying it.
Yeah, I need to figure out where to get that from, though. I don't know where to get that from. So
I get it from their website. No,
I don't know. I am not there, so I got let me.
But let me just see. Let me just see. What's that?
So, agenda, virtual live event. I don't see any tools for that. Economist impact. Let me. So let's see. Agenda, in-person agenda, virtual exhibitors, speakers, attendees, my event, tools. I want tools. Where's tools? Come on, show me.
Yeah, because they said that you were supposed to be able to use their things, remember? I think even when they sent it, they said there's something about.
I don't remember.
Yeah, let me check my email here. Was it Ashish? Maybe in the
stand by. I got something here. Let me see if it works. Let me see if this works. Bingo, it works. So now the question is, let me share my screen. I'll show you what I did.
Hold on, let me stop sharing.
No, I already got it. I got it. I took over.
Oh, you did? Wow, but I think that's what we need to do in the talk too.
So this is the slide. There it is. This is the slide in question.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Yeah, you like it there? Rather than
I don't care where we put it. I just stuck it somewhere.
Yeah, okay. Where do you think we should put it? In the top left-hand corner?
You think that'll take, oops. Oh, I'm in.
I don't know.
I'm in this display mode. Up here?
You think so? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that looks
Yeah.
better. It's more
Yeah,
white
that looks
space up
better.
at the top.
Yeah, I think that looks better. And
You
the
want
other
to put on
thing,
the last slide too?
yes.
Okay.
And also when I have in the slides, I can thank them. I'll remember to
It's
thank
a little
them.
more difficult here because there's not as much white
Yeah,
space.
yeah,
So let me
yeah.
do this. Let me do this and put it where there's more white space down here. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. And it's it, right. Yeah,
So
I like that. And thank the folks. And we look forward to participating
yeah,
in their future events.
okay,
They did an amazing job, you know.
cool. All right. Yeah, that
Okay.
looks good. I'm going to save
Okay.
this and send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me, and then I think, yeah, I'll just take one look again on it, and then I'll send it to, or you want to?
No, you send it because you'll have the last one. You'll have the last look.
Okay, so good. You look at it again, Mark.
I am.
I trust you on it, and then the Coral Gables and the others, and we have the right amount of slides, and I think we can do it. I shortened my gist. I'm just Sarah Rushnick from the University of Miami, but and also advisor for the city of Coral Gables, and in their tech initiatives. And then maybe even at the end, I'll see how it is. You think in the beginning or the end, thanking Raimundo.
Wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you want to fit it in.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I'll see where it is, but remind me if I forget.
Yeah.
Just say something about, that you're impressed, or something about, I want to thank you. You can even say it in terms of it was his.
Well, yeah. If I don't hear you say it, I'll say it.
You'll say it, and then I can chime in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. If I'm missing something, if you're missing something, we'll just chime in.
Yeah. While you're talking, I will. Well, actually, if
Right.
I have my
They're
head down
doing
making notes, that's not very good. But I will have little reminders for myself.
Yeah,
like a
little
checklist.
reminders for ourselves and so forth. Okay. I think that this was invaluable for us.
I agree. I liked it. It was fun.
And doing it on
And
Zoom.
it ain't over yet.
Right. But in the day, I used to. I'll tell you, it wasn't a joke. This is my brother. Have you ever been to Sonoma? In California?
I have.
Okay, my brother lives there, right next to the town. And when I go visit it, I think it is just so charming. We go to the wineries, we hang out. And one day, my brother, he was cooking. He's a gourmet cook, and he was opening the refrigerator. And I just said, Al, this is just so lovely. I'm having such a great day. And my brother, just so naturally, how he always is, he goes, the day's not over. And some of my friends, I kid, I said the day's not over. So anyway.
Yeah, my wife and I took a trip up that way. We went to Sonoma and we went to Napa. And we were both struck by the same thing, that Sonoma was more charming and more down to earth than Napa was.
Yeah, yes.
And I was really glad that I had been to both, because I only had ever really heard of Napa. Of course, I heard of Sonoma, but Napa was the destination. We went there. We were like, this is like a tourist trap or something.
Yeah. Well, parts of it isn't weekend, but my brother lives
But Sonoma was nice. Sonoma was much more, earthy.
Yes, it was. And Sonoma, my brother lives like 5 blocks from the square,
Oh yeah, and that's it. They have a charming square.
Right. And they do,
beautiful.
they're really like, July 4th, they have the little parade there. You know what I mean? It's still kind of country. Still keeping
and
it.
We stayed at a bed and breakfast in San Rafael on our journey.
Yes.
And so we had gone through Sausalito, San Rafael, and we had gotten all the way up to the valleys, and we crossed over from Sonoma to Napa. It felt like we were like it'll go on the downside of our journey at that
Yeah,
point. We
yeah,
had to
it
go back to
was, yeah,
Sonoma. In
yeah,
fact, I
but
think we did go back through Sonoma to come back.
yeah, no, but it is charming. So hopefully I'll
Cool.
get out
The
there.
day's not over. I'll remember
Yeah,
that.
but anyways, you always, so some of my closest friends, I always say, well, the day's not over. And some of them just, text me, the day is. And it's funny how you look at life, because I told that to my cousin, who's kind of like, we were raised kind of, always in doubt, kind of
Sure.
waiting for the next rock to, broke, and and
Come
it
through
was
the
funny.
windshield. Yeah.
Yeah, so our parents were from the Holocaust, so we
Oh,
really, I have always expect, the worst will happen. And he was married to this woman who was super optimistic. So when I told him about the day is not over, she goes, no, Sarah, in your story, I thought, oh, there's more great things to come.
that's another way to take it. Exactly.
You
Where were
know,
your parents living before the Holocaust commenced?
they were in, yeah, you're welcome to add. They were in Poland.
They were in Poland. My God, Jesus.
And
And they survived?
with everybody being destroyed there, and then basically
Jesus.
there was this, but my father, everyone was destroyed. He was even married with a young infant, and
Oh,
that they were
he
the
didn't
first to
survive, you're
go,
saying.
women with the infants, and then
Oh, man.
my mother, she survived. Two of her sisters and her survived. They
So
were in the
you and your
camps.
mother, you were born here then? She got
I
out
was born here. My brother was born in, I guess almost you can think of a displacement camp in Germany.
yeah, I
And
bet.
he was born in a displacement camp. And then they got sponsors to bring them over to the United States.
Well,
All
God
three
bless you.
sisters. Yeah, but I'm just
That's
saying that
good.
you could kind of think about it, but it's,
Yeah.
anyways. All right. So
All
anyway,
righty.
I
We'll
think
see you tomorrow at 10:30.
10:30. We can kind of
We
check
can
out
prep,
stuff.
set ourselves up, but final notes,
Final notes, and I think that's the best thing. I'll just pause many times and you just
Yeah,
chime in,
I'll
and then
read
we'll
that.
just see, and then you'll be in charge of the slides. And you know what, even if I go over a bit, that'll be a hint to me too.
I can click the slide.
You
There you
click
go.
the slide.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea. When I start to be too chatty,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good.
go to the next slide. And that will give a hint to us.
Terrific.
Okay.
Last
I look forward to it.
comment. I
Yeah.
was going to say something. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I'll get the clicker. I'll have my notes. Anyway, we'll check in the morning. We'll be fine. I'll see you at 10:30.
We'll be fine. I feel real confident now. Just why don't you do this? Send me the last draft, because you have to fix.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. I sent it. You haven't received it yet?
Oh, I didn't even know you fixed everything. Hold on.
I just realized that that was the question I wanted to ask. Did you get it?
I just said, oh, I'll see it, and then I'll let me just get out of this. Let me exit this. Let me look in my mail. Mark. Oh, it's all that crap. Let me see if I can open from here. I may have to go to my. Let me go to my other one.
Okay.
Because they were asking me for coach mode. You know what I mean? Herb
I do.
asked you.
Got you.
Yeah. They're at my end, they're also worried about me opening up. It's funny, this
That's
one
right.
opened up fine. Okay, let me
good.
save it.
Yeah, save it locally for yourself.
Yeah, let me save it locally in case something happens. You know how it is. Download a copy. Your presentation is ready.
Excellent.
It's ready down. Oh, download. Okay. Let me just make sure it's there. Right. And you called it what? Effective smart city design, is that it?
I think that's what I called it. It sounds right. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't remember now.
Okay, I'll
close
just
the file.
Yeah. Okay, let me just look to see if
Got it. I can open it. Hold on. I just don't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
It's called Effective Smart City Design, yes, which
Okay,
I
let me
believe
see.
is the title of the presentation, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. Okay, view only.
Yeah. That's the before the colon. That's the title of our presentation.
Yeah,
Effective Smart
right,
City
which
Design.
is a good thing. Right, and then after that, we'll set up for, I think, just taking Mark, just taking what we've done with the ChatGPT and Bard and create a new title and take a new description for the IT Expo.
Yeah. We'll reformulate.
Maybe we can do that because I think the deadline is coming up, so we can just do that, and then we have you, Avi, and me for,
All right, just let me know. Let me know the details.
Yeah, I
when
will.
you
Well,
have
I'll
them.
let you know tomorrow. You know what I mean? We can
Okay.
even, maybe we can even put it out tomorrow even. You know, how long will that
All right.
take? I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
I
I
don't know,
need to get
just
back
a
to
new
other
title.
things, but sure.
But
Sure.
you know what's nice, Mark, is you already have it saved right in your
Yeah, I have
chat.
it in the cloud. I have it. Oh, well, I have that in ChatGPT. Yes, I still do. Yes.
Right, in ChatGPT, you just have that section where we just pick another one, you know, and we're ready to go. Okay, great, Mark. As usual.
All righty.
A pleasure. Okay,
A
so
pleasure. See you tomorrow. Have a good evening.
and I'll send out, that's the one thing I'll send out tonight to the whole gang. I
To
don't know who it's
Ashish,
supposed to
yeah.
be. Ashish and all of them, you know,
Ashish and all them, yeah.
and Anton and whatever. Okay, great.
Oh, yeah. I see. I got a note here that you successfully used the link. Excellent. All right.
Okay, all right. Ciao, ciao.
You have a great evening. Be safe.
You too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.